vehicle before liftoff. Coming up next, at T-minus 3 minutes, we should hear that Stage 1 has completed liquid oxygen loading.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out that Stage 1 LOX loading is complete. Falcon 9's first stage is now fully loaded with RP1 and LOX, and we're awaiting completion of LOX load on the second stage in about 50 seconds from now. Our Falcon 9 fuel is comprised of a propellant and an oxidizer. We use rocket propellant 1, or RP1, which is a rocket-grade kerosene, and liquid oxygen, or LOX, as our oxidizer. Now you can certainly see those white clouds coming from the side of the booster. That is the gas above the LOX tank venting out to maintain pressure inside of the tanks. Coming up shortly, we should hear a call out that second stage LOX loading is complete. The first stage or booster that's supporting this mission is flying for its 16th time. After liftoff and stage separation, the booster is scheduled to land on our drone ship.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out that Stage 2 LOX loading is complete. The booster will land on our drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas, which is currently stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. Coming up next, we should hear that our Falcon 9 is in startup, which means that the flight computers have taken over the launch countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there's that call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the flight computers have taken over the countdown and the rocket is on internal power. In just a few moments, we'll hear confirmation from our launch director.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
And as you just heard, the launch director has given the final go to proceed for tonight's launch. So let's sit back and watch as Falcon 9 takes our last 54 V1.5 Starlink satellites into space.
30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engines full power, and liftoff of SpaceX Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Gathering. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 from the Cape at 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
And there you heard that call out that Falcon 9 is supersonic, which means that the rocket is traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there's that call out for max Q. This is the point at which the vehicle experiences the greatest amount of external stresses as it descends through the Earth's atmosphere. we're about a minute away from a
MVAC shell has started.
series of events: MECO, stage separation, SES-1, and fairing separation. MECO, or main engine cutoff, is where all 9 of the Merlin or M1D engines on the first stage shut down. This is followed by stage separation, which is when the first and second stages separate. Then we have SES-1, or second engine start 1, where we light the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. And lastly, we'll have fairing separation, which is when the 2 fairing halves separate and fall away from stage 2. So keep an eye out for these events, which will happen in quick succession.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
And there we had MECO, followed by stage separation and SES-1. Coming up shortly will be fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we heard and saw those 2 fairing halves separating and falling away from the second stage. Both of the fairing halves that flew on tonight's mission are flight proven, with one half flying for the 9th time and the other flying for its 10th. And we will be attempting to recover both fairing halves using our recovery vessel, Doug. On your screen right now is a view of our MVAC engine at the very bottom of the second stage, carrying our Starlink satellites to orbit.
Both vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
Currently, the first stage is on its way back to Earth towards our drone ship, a short fall of gravitas. Now, this MVAC engine will continue its burn for another couple of minutes, and you can watch the velocity increasing at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. For those of you who are just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff at 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Both vehicles are still on a nominal trajectory.
Tonight's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's 47th launch of the year and 246th mission to date. Now on your screen right now is a view of our MVAC engine on the second stage, currently carrying our Starlink satellites into orbit. From time to time, we may get views of our first stage as it descends back to Earth.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
The 54 satellites on tonight's mission will join the rest of our Starlink constellation, which is now delivering high-speed, low-latency internet to over 1.5 million people around the globe. Starlink recently went live in Guatemala and Cyprus, with more countries around the world to be announced soon. Coming up in about 15 seconds, we should hear a call out for the Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Both stages are on a nominal trajectory.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there's the call out for the Stage 1 entry burn. Stage 1, which we also call the booster, has ignited engines 1, 5, and 9 to slow it down for atmospheric re-entry.
Stage 1 entry shutdown.
And there's that call out that the entry burn on the first stage has completed. The first stage used to launch our 54 Starlink satellites into space tonight is flying for the 16th time. Now we have one more burn on the first stage, and that is the landing burn, which should be coming up in just over a minute from now. The center engine, E9 specifically, is the engine that relights for landing burn to slow it down before it touches the drone ship.
Stage 1 transonic.
And there's that call.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
Now coming up next, we have a landing burn on the first stage, which should start in about 20 seconds from now.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there's
Stage
confirmation.
2 terminal guidance.
There's confirmation that the Stage 1 landing burn has started in preparation for touchdown on our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas. Keep an eye out for the landing legs that are scheduled to deploy just moments before the landing.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you have it, Falcon 9 has successfully landed, marking its 16th landing for this booster. And we are now awaiting second engine cutoff coming up in a few seconds.
MBAC shutdown.
Tonight's landing of our first stage marks our 207th overall landing of an orbital class rocket and our 246th mission to date for tonight's mission.
Expected loss of signal Cape.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there's that call out for nominal orbital insertion. Now, as mentioned earlier in the webcast, tonight's launch marked the last launch of all V1.5 Starlink satellites. A huge thank you and congratulations to the entire Starlink team here at SpaceX. We look forward to launching V2s and V2 minis while further innovating our Starlink sats. And that will bring tonight's webcast to a close for this evening. Be sure to check our social media for confirmation of Starlink satellite deployment. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
下载中天新闻网 App， 周周抽机票，还有众多好康，让你今年夏天好好玩一下。这一波奖品非常丰富，有盈达旅行社提供日本、韩国、泰国等旅游夯地的来回机票。周周抽机票，快来试试手气！下载中天新闻网 App 参加抽奖，就有机会把免费机票带回家。还有孩子们最喜欢的奇幻岛探索乐园亲子畅玩门票，是小朋友暑假放电好去处。立刻下载中天新闻网 App 参加抽奖。另外也有米特才艺中心的乐高机器人、流体熊等丰富课程，让孩子暑假不虚度，从游戏中学习成长。只要下载中天新闻网 App， 就有机会抽课程抵用券。以及最近非常热门的国立海洋科技博物馆门票、新北水岸河滨自行车租借优惠券、宜兰苏澳立桨冲浪体验优惠券，以及大家最爱的小七咖啡。这么多的好康奖项都在中天新闻网 App 里。快拿起手机下载中天新闻网 App， 输入推荐代码，任选一个账号注册，填写完资料，来到中天复古乐园戳戳乐，丰富奖品等你抽！赶快来下载中天新闻网 App， 试试好手气，好康抱回家。